Well, room to enlarge the picture.
And we're live. Welcome to the Gordox Pub, where we unmask turtles because there's no reason for them to wear masks.
Maybe it's a security thing.
Remnants of their security blankets. Ugh. All I'm saying is, the mask is supposed to, protect your identity, not be your identity.
I don't know if they have security blankets. Maybe it was the blanket that they were born on.
Yeah, it's the blanket they were born on. Yeah, it's not the Foot Clan that takes care of them. It's not Shredder. No. It's Pink Eye.
I'm saying, watch it. Maybe it's blanket immunity, and they just didn't know what that means.
That's funny.
I served my purpose. Now I can go home. Well, wait, I am at home.
Ugh.
You want to say hi to Bret? No, you don't want to say hi to Bret.
Okay.
He didn't hear you. No.
It's like he's praying before going to bed. Only it's like now
Or
I
he's
lay me
doing
down to sleep.
He's doing the Revenge of the Ninja hand signs for the prosciutto before he goes out and kills somebody. Because his face doesn't look like he's getting ready to go to sleep. And they're trained to actually walk from the sitting position in the sitting position.
Why?
You've never seen that before?
I guess not.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Allison. You're the first one here this time.
Oh, hey, I'm on the wrong screen.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Can I do a live stream tomorrow?
No, Saturday.
You might be able to do a short one. Like, what are you thinking?
You could draw a birthday cake with me jumping out of it. Yeah. Although, wait, that might be too tempting.
So,
Allison said, "That's great."
I don't know what that is referring to.
The thought of me jumping out of a birthday cake.
Oh,
Ah!
it'd have to be a pretty big birthday cake.
Dude, that's not nice. I can't help it if my head is big.
You have to draw the camera back for a long shot.
Yeah, thanks.
How tall are you?
6'2".
How big of a cake would that be to jump out of?
It would
How
be
tall
big.
can you fold up to set inside of a cake and wait?
I don't know. Give me a light and a book, and or just give me my phone. I suppose I can scroll for a while.
Hey, that's like that Groucho Marx comment.
Okay.
The best thing outside of a dog is a book.
Oh, okay.
Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read.
That's true.
He's thoughtful, that one.
Yeah. Well, that's like a friend of mine from high school. Her oldest son's birthday was a few days ago, and she posted that she was this many years old when she found out that her son had the same birthday as Tim Burton. So I was like, I would have thought you would have, I don't know, known when your kid was born because you were kind of there. But
Well,
everyone should
your
know.
kid Tim Burton.
Yeah.
That's kind of the trick there.
She said me jumping out of a birthday cake is great.
Yeah. Before the internet, which I lived before,
Yeah.
I had no way of knowing who shared my birthday, which was a couple of days ago. Well, a week and 2 days ago.
I always find it funny that, I'm sure I didn't know when Tim Burton's birthday was. I didn't care. But I just thought it was funny that it kind of implies you, if you knew you're a big fan of Tim Burton, I think you would know. Whatever.
Right? Well, I don't know. I have a lot things more important to memorize than directors' birthdays. Like Tim Burton, I don't know. Like I go through. I really like stuff of his, and then I go through other stuff that I'm like, how is this a movie? How is this even made? Like, I really hated what he did to Batman. Even though I liked the movie Batman, I hated what he did to it because it was supposed to be The Dark Knight. And that's what actually pissed Frank Miller off. That's why he didn't put any of his other stuff out there for a long time. And that's why Robert Rodriguez had to kind of bring him on board to
By the way, Allison said happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. How old are you going to be, Allison? I didn't ask him. Generally, I don't know. I don't know if it's wise to ask, but
It's a pub. An American
What's that?
pub. Yeah, I don't know. Just saying.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said it's an American pub.
An American pub?
Yeah, the Gourd Ox Pub.
Oh. I don't know what that was in reference to, I guess. I'm like, huh?
She's hanging out in a pub.
Did I miss that? Oh, never mind. Okay. Well, because I didn't know if there was some relevance to what you were saying, but
It has relevance to what you're saying.
I'm not looking at the screen, so I don't know if there was a comment there or not.
Oh, that's fine.
What relevance does it have to what I'm saying? She's
You
not
asked how
drinking.
old she is. If she's hanging out in a pub, it implies a certain age. Or at least a floor of a certain age. Ugh.
A floor of a certain age?
Yeah, as in, people that hang out in pubs that can legally drink normally.
What if they drink abnormally?
No.
So your play on words.
I have tasted my own medicine, and it is bitter.
I was just thinking it could be a Monty Python skit, right?
Yeah.
How you drink abnormally, the side of your lips, drink through your nose or whatever. It's always nose. If we were dead.
Oh my God.
I'm not using any references. I'm just fucking around. Because I really like the idea of thinking what I would make a Ninja Turtle look like without a mask.
You'll never know which one it is.
Well, like they're all dead except for Michelangelo, so I kind of he doesn't need a mask to identify him anymore.
They never, yeah.
Come on now.
Have you seen, like, is it Toucan Sam is like completely different now, right? Like, I've been watching these commercials, and he's weird now. I don't get it.
Well, he's probably. I'm not even going to say it. He's probably an Olympic boxer now.
Oh gosh. There are so many jokes I'm thinking of, but I'm just going to be like, nah.
I can't do it. Be like, be holding it in so much, you'd be talking like Captain Kirk.
Oh. That's like, oh my.
I think she left.
There is a certain, there's a certain amount of censorship that you have to do as a team. Like, there's a certain level of self-censorship that you have to do in high school. But man, I guess my what I find appropriate for a 7th grade classroom is really far removed from all the stuff that goes on in my head. And because they'll do something, just whatever stupid, and or they'll say something, and I just have to, just really bite my tongue. And because some of it's just, like, I didn't think about it, but like somebody asked me if I was upset or grumpy or something. And I was like, no, I just have RBF. Like, I didn't even think of it. Just RBF. And nobody in high school is going to care. But the girl who knew what it was like, oh, what? And then the other kids who didn't know what it was, which floored me even more, were like, what's going on? And I was like, look, if you don't know, you don't need to know. But it's just, it's kind of weird. It's on some levels, they're all like R-rated films and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, no. And just, I don't know, it's weird.
I didn't hear what you just said. The dog went off.
Well, like, one of their vocab words this week was inevitably. And
what?
Inevitably.
That's what I thought, but I didn't hear the "in" part.
Yeah.
So I was like, inevitably. I didn't know that was a word by itself.
Yeah. And anytime I hear that word or see that word, I think of Team America. And if you've never seen that, you should. I have a firm belief in that. But one of the characters, Kim Jong-il, is in the film, and he's inevitably. Inevitable. I mean, it's just oh god, I love that movie, and I none of the kids have seen it, and I'm like, if it was high school, I would show a tiny clip that's allowed, and just be like, go find that on your own. But when it's the 7th graders, I'm just like, yeah, never mind. I don't know.
I actually had never seen it.
Oh god, it's got one of the best patriotic songs ever. I told my children.
Technically, you can play part of it if we stop it and comment on it, because then it's review.
Yeah, but if I played the song, are you going to get a copy strike?
That's what I just said. If you're, because it's part of the movie, if you play part of it and then stop it at a verse for commentary, then it's a review. It's not just playing a song.
Well, I won't play the whole
Anyway.
song, but let me see if I can find it. I'm sure I can find it on YouTube.
Because it seemed like you really wanted to share the song, so.
Just know it's for an adult audience.
Well, I always mark this for not for children. So, I mean, it doesn't say that, there's nobody that could be young on here, but it's not marked for children. So,
Let me see if this marks right. Commercial. Not going to show commercial. A never-ending commercial, apparently.
oh, one of them. Is it starring Lamb Chop?
No.
That would seem to be empirical evidence that the song does end.
Here we go. I have found it. Oh, gonna have to turn down the tunes on here. Just pause that bad boy. And yeah, okay. Present. Yes. All right. You ready for this?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Get ready to feel super patriotic. If it'll play.
Well, I already feel super patriotic, so. I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No,
Oh, that's so sad. I can hear it.
You have to be on that screen. You can't be looking at it on our screen. You have to look at it on that screen.
I am on my screen. Trust me.
We're not playing right now.
Well, I know you couldn't hear it. I'm even in full screen.
Are you sharing the sound?
As much as I know. Should be. Don't know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I failed on technology. I'll have to look at it later, but I'm telling you, trust me, it's so patriotic. It's amazing. I failed.
You get to remove that or close the window.
Get there. Dude. Real. Stop screen.
There you go.
And then if the music ever comes back on, we'll know. There it is. Uh-oh. That's not the computer. So that all caps comics thing.
Where's your keys?
That would mean that I have to get on X.
Yeah, I guess. Well, you could email him because you found the email.
Well, I didn't know if that was actually his email or not, because again, part of that was from DC. So
Well, somebody said, well, no, there was two that you put up. One was DC, and
Right.
I don't think he has an email at DC anymore. But
I saw something the other day I thought about sharing with you. Or maybe you shouldn't post it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy.
then
But
you're
it was-
all like, nah, why share?
But it was a panel from some comic, and one of the characters' name was apparently Clint. And they're like, and that's why the name Clint rarely appears in comic books, because the way it was printed, the L and the I.
Yeah, it's too close.
Yeah. And I was like, that's beautiful and majestic.
That usually ends up being the meme that says, be careful what font you choose. But yeah, I've seen it. I just learned, I think today, it might have been last night, but I think it's today. It's been hectic, so. That Jim Butcher just wrote a Spider-Man, I think, Audible book.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
where I
might have
guess
known that.
Spider-Man's fighting Rhino.
Fact. Let me see
And
something.
he's a science teacher.
Because he's older and
Well, I'm just saying, like it's an interesting progression of the character. Maybe I haven't read him in a while, so that might not be his invention, but it sounds like something a writer would consider, right? Instead of just your normal. Uh, Comic books are a lot written by committee, where the writer isn't necessarily the one that comes up with the idea. It's he's the one that or she's the one that executes the idea.
yeah.
Um, so I thought it was interesting to consider and think about that. That is something I didn't think Jim Butcher would do. Like, not that I didn't see anything that ever led me to believe he wouldn't, but it seems like he made comments like he didn't want to write in anybody else's universe really, because he's got his own universe that he's writing in. I know he wrote some stuff for Larry Correa.
Yeah.
I think both of them kind of worked in each other's universe for a little while. Short stories and anthology type stuff. Guess I worked my way down, figuring out what I like for what. What I love most about these markers is that you can go back into the last value that you put on with the next lighter value and lighten it up. So if it starts getting too dark, you kind of have some control over it. You're supposed to fill the emptiness.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to fill the emptiness.
Wow. You feel like a tumbler.
A little bit. It's a good way to describe it.
Washing machine effect, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't I can't concentrate on two things at once these days, I guess.
Oh.
Went to the pharmacy to pick up some medication earlier.
Yeah.
Took my eyes off of Eli just for long enough to talk to the cashier at the pharmacist. And he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. It did not work out for the best.
That's like lately, I've gone to the Doc in the Box like three or four times now, like within like the last month. And the school changed insurance. We used to have Blue Cross Blue Shield, now we have UMR. And it was like a third visit before I understood, like when the guys, do you have UMR insurance?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I was gonna make a play on words, but it just didn't work. Anyway, go on.
No, I just, they would ask me and I'd be like, what? Well, I just could not understand. And it wasn't until like the third trip where I was like, oh yeah. And I'm like, you know, it was as many times as you guys have asked me this. You'd think A, you would remember. B, you'd think I'd like be able to figure out what you're saying, but I guess every time I'm there, I'm a little bit distracted. What's up, sexy girlfriend? Oh, my wife's being shy now.
Well, you know, you sound like that. The house has been like the pie-eating contest to Stand By Me. Then probably I can understand why.
Oh. It's not good when you're like, all right, pardon me, I have to go kneel and pray for a bit. You can't even get up the stairs.
But look on the bright side. At least you're not shitting while you're puking.
That is always a benefit, because I hate when you turn into a human sprinkler. Just both sides. It's not good. So I saw this call for submissions, and it's, I don't know if it's quite token payment, but it's like $25.
Yeah, that's token payment.
Yeah. But it's like a shared world anthology. And I was reading through it, and it's kind of nice because the guy's like, look, if you want to shoot me an email, how, you know, like with your idea, if I don't like it, or if I already have people doing that or whatever, I'll let you know so you don't waste your time. And I thought that was pretty nice. I was like, yeah, I mean, kind of makes sense if, you know, if you kind of know what you're looking for and for your anthology, whatever it is, and you also, you kind of know what's already coming in. Why not tell people? Yeah, so, before they spend time and energy making something for the anthology. Although I was looking it over and I just reading up on it. It's interesting. And it actually looked kind of neat. Like I was like, I had an idea that would probably work, and then I was thinking, okay, so do I tell this guy my idea and just write it for $25 and be like, well, consider it a credit, whatever, or do I just, because the idea isn't necessarily, it's not mandatory that it be set in this universe. I could put it in other places. Like it's
right. And if it was based on that universe, you could just change the important stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So then I was like, you know what? All right. So, I mean, it got me thinking. I don't know if I'll be able to do anything with it, just because with the comic book and then the novel, and there are a couple short stories I'm already working on.
Oh,
absolutely.
All right, don't do that. I'm there quite a bit right now. I just finished the 10th installment of the what the hell is that called? Episodic story, where it's gonna be published a part at a time.
Oh yeah.
Like the Green Mile was, or
Right.
Blackstone Chronicles, and the old chapter stories, where it's actually based on old chapter stories. But yeah, I've finished the 10th installment, and I'm about maybe 2/3 of the way through the story. I think that's too dark. There are certain characteristics to turtles
Yeah.
that you really never seen in Ninja Turtles.
Well, I don't think their shells are big enough for them to really hide in. So
What?
I'm just saying their shells seem more
Talking
decorative.
about like texture of their skin and texture of their shells, and that kind of stuff. It's kind of what I'm doing right now, is putting some texture on his head. What I did was do the values on his head first, and then the textures over it. Then I can come back in and do the next pleasure values.
So I saw that the woman that played the lead role, the two lead roles in The Acolyte, is saying that it was conservative bigotry, hyper conservative bigotry.
It's all the excuse. Every time that Star Wars fails, it's the fans' fault, not the fucking showrunner's fault.
Well, to me, they're she's basically saying that the show failed because the audience can't handle gay characters, right? As if that's the only reason. It was just the gayness that turned off viewers.
Right.
And to me, I get there are plenty of people that don't want to watch straight people making out, let alone gay people. So, aside from going to that length, I don't think you're really. Again, if you have gay characters in Star Wars, and even if you want to cater to the gay community in Star Wars, I 100% think you can. But I think she's trying to say that you can't. And to me, that's like saying it's the gayness that made it suck. And it wasn't the gayness that made it suck. It was the story writing that made it terrible. Just get over yourself. I'm sorry. I don't think anybody cares. And I'm sorry. And I also think that lesbians are an easier sell than gay guys. So, I'm sorry. I would bet money that you could have a very successful lesbian Star Wars character showrunner, and people would eat it up. Think Star Wars meets La Femme Nikita, and she's gay. Or at least bisexual.
So my problem is that why does it matter that she's gay? Why does it have to be gay?
Well, that's the thing with being a spy, a covert enemy or a covert person who, uses whatever tools are at her disposal. So she would use her sex, as a weapon or a tool to find out whatever she needs or to reach the target. There's a whole bunch of things you can do with it.
But you don't have to make her a sexual entity to do that, though. I guess what I'm saying is that, you could go, oh, she's bi or whatever, but in reality, if she doesn't care about anybody, it's just a means to an end, and it's not a sexual preference. It's just a means to an end.
Okay, but I still think that it's. I don't think you're going to necessarily say that's a conservative viewpoint, and I think that would still sell, and it would sell well if it was written well. And
yeah, it's the written well. I think that's really the failure. And
right, 100%. But it's like, okay, why are you trying to say I have to like this because the characters are gay? It's like, how about you give me gay characters that I want to like?
That's it in a nutshell. Is that they're just trying to say you have to like it, otherwise you're X or Y or Z. That's not fucking fit you in the box shit.
So,
because if you don't like it, you must fit in that box. It can't be because of their actual flaws in writing or characterizations. It has to be.
Your writers need to treat that community with the respect it deserves by giving them characters that are actually fleshed out and not just a sexual orientation. So it's the writers, once again, who I would say did a disservice.
Yeah, they just don't know how to. It's just like the journalism now. Journalism is all about what you put into it personally that makes it yours, instead of, telling what the fuck's happening. You got to tell it in a way that makes people believe what you believe. And you've got to believe what the popular belief is to get a job in journalism. So, yeah, that's bullshit. That's why journalism is the way it is. Like it used to be, you reported the news
Right.
and let people decide for themselves. But now in journalism classes, they're actually teaching you that you have to write with a voice. No, you don't. Not to be a journalist, you have to get down information. If you write, that's about writing the clearest information, not flavoring it towards a character's point of view. You're supposed to be an objective point of view. But here we go into they have to know what objective means.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest flaws nowadays is that they don't understand at all what objective means.
Well, it's like they took the idea that it's impossible to be completely unbiased. So, since it's impossible to be, stop trying. And it's like, no, that's probably the wrong idea.
Right.
Like, I understand that what you choose to cover and things like that does or is influenced by personal bias.
Right.
And even
And
if you're
if you're
presenting
angry
factually,
about something, I get that too.
but trying to even if you want to report what's going on, and even if you're angry about it, you should still be trying to be objective as you report it.
Yeah, or print the actual facts and let other people get as upset as you because it's the fact, not because what you deem it's going to mean in the future or what you deem it's going to mean for your friends or your brother-in-law or whatever. I mean, it's just weird shit that people are arguing nowadays. They're not arguing real points with that. They're arguing, it's like the whole Trump thing. I'm voting for the person that's not going to hurt my kids. Trump never grabbed a kid and hurt the kid. Not one fucking time.
You mean Trump never showered with his daughter?
He doesn't even sniff kids' hair.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've noticed a lot of the memes that people are putting out are
dumb.
Oh, if we do our job, we will never have to see him again. It's
Right.
like, I mean, cool and all, but that doesn't mean I want to ruin my country by voting for someone who's a communist and
Right.
just-
Or worse.
Yeah, not sure it can get worse.
What's that?
I'm not sure it can get worse.
Than a communist?
Yeah.
An idiot communist?
Okay. Well, it's like that plan to tax unearned or what? Oh God, it's like when you buy stock and the value of the stock goes up, they want you to pay
Right.
tax on that without you actually getting money for it. So
No,
if
the
you're-
worst part is that when you get that you're taxed on that speculation or growth, and then then it shrinks, and you're
Right.
still taxed on the original growth.
Yeah.
Like you're taxed on the growth, and then when the value drops, your taxes don't drop. You still pay that fucking growth.
Yeah, you could literally invest in something and then have to pay a tax, and then so you lose that money, and then your stock can plummet. So you never had those gains, so you were taxed on things that never existed.
Right.
Like, how is that going to drive investment?
And once it goes up, it never comes down.
So yeah, there are so many things wrong with it. Plus the whole while she was prosecutor, she was trying to keep people in
Sorry.
prison. She was hiding evidence, really evil, malicious things that actually hurt people. Not their precious little feelings, but kept them behind bars. she
Slave
had
labor.
yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you can tell that her family comes from slave owners, which they did. So
Yeah, and their father was a Marxist fucking economist.
Yeah.
Which is
Well,
kind
that
of an oxymoron, don't you think?
yeah. But like that whole what can be unburdened by what has been thing,
Yep.
that's Marxist propaganda.
It's actually the way they end the Communist Manifesto.
Right.
It's a tweak on the words, but it's the same thing as the ending of the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah. And it's like
Now that we've gotten that out there to inform you people.
well, I'm like, what? You know, like when RFK was still in the race, you know, you could say whatever, and you could be like, oh, look, RFK wants to do this, 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 and this. He had policies, he had ideas. I didn't agree with everything, but like if it had come down between RFK Jr. on the Democrat ticket and Trump on the Republican ticket, I would have been like, well, all right, we're not in bad shape. Like I know which one I'd probably prefer, but I wouldn't be too worried about either or.
Right.
And now we're
at least RFK is still concerned for kids in the American way and all that. So
yeah. And he's seen how the Democratic Party has, you know, I'm sorry, it's the least Democratic Party ever.
yeah, he's experiencing actually the same. Well, he's experiencing a microcosm of what Trump's experiencing. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
a
same
damn shame that they just can't run a fair, what am I looking for? Fair race, because they know damn well they're going to lose if they do.
I know.
They have to cheat, they have to lie, they have to make shit up.
Well, again, I've yet to hear anyone really complain about Trump's policies because the proof was in the pudding.
Well,
And-
they do, but they're lying their asses off when they do because they're claiming those policies that were successful were either the administration before or the administration after. If they
Right.
all know it's bullshit,
But-
well, anyone that's been paying attention knows it's bullshit. But
Right,
they're
but
telling
everything
you-
that went wrong is like for the past 20 years, it's Trump's fault. It's like
right.
that's amazing. So, but again, normally speaking, just whatever the Democrats are going to accuse you of, that's what they're doing, and that's what they're guilty of.
Right.
Oh,
That's called deflection.
yeah, confession through projection.
Yeah, well, the projection is, yeah, same thing. But it's deflecting you from what they're doing by projecting it upon their opponents.
Well, I mean, I've said for years that if John Kennedy were running today, John F. Kennedy, the one that got shot,
Yeah,
if he were running today, he'd be a Republican. Like his policies are way more in line with modern Republicans than the Democrats.
well, I don't know if he'd be a Republican or trying to redefine independent.
Well, whatever. But I'm saying he's.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit different,
I'm just saying it's closer to what a modern Republican is.
Well, yeah, everything is closer to whatever modern Republican is than the Democrats.
Yeah.
Democrats are as extreme left as you can get these days.
Yeah.
They don't even allow moderate leftists in. Like regular Democrats, unless they're progressives, they can be considered as something else.
Yeah.
They hurt their own cause that way, but they're doing it, so all I'm doing is pointing it out. Like they can make their own decisions, become what they want, do what they want, whatever. Not my anything. I'm not running for politics. I don't give a shit either way as far as politics goes.
Well, I'd
What
like to not have my
What I
rights.
care about is the results of politics.
Yeah. I don't want my rights infringed. I don't want to go to another, I don't want another war. I don't want my children being, or my grandchildren being sent off to fight for something stupid. And those are the things that politics matter. So I don't want to become England where they can send cops, or Germany where they can send cops because you posted a mean comment, but you can't protect yourself when there's a knife-wielding maniac coming at you.
Right?
I'm sorry, I don't want to be those countries.
Even the cops can't.
Right?
They have to have special dispensation to fucking carry weapons.
It is just.
How are they going to protect you? They're going to pull out their fucking clubs? What are they going to do?
Yeah. It's dumb. It is cultural suicide, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nope, don't like it.
It's true. I mean, like, you're not speaking an untruth.
Allison said that's a pretty good job.
None of the stuff that we're saying is there to try to manipulate anybody. It's more of trying to inform you. Like, I tell my tattoo clients, I don't tell, they ask me all the time what I should get or whatever. I don't want to tell you what to get. But what I want to tell you is what's possible, what's common, so you can be informed and make your own decisions, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. That's the same thing as journalism. That's what journalism should be. It should be informing you so that you can make your own decision about it. But they don't. They try to make your decision as well for you.
Rich, I'll be right back.
Okay. Bret has said that he probably will have to make several exits because he has been ill. So, I'm not surprised. I'm going to try to be patient. Or at least, I'm going to try to be patient. I guess nobody else has to try to be patient. Okay, the thing about random and random dots is random is never true when a human does it. It always ends up having some kind of pattern. But we're trying to make that pattern as less frequent or change to different patterns so it's not as noticeable. Thanks, Allison. Didn't really see it coming before, so.
Well, I'm switching over to Gatorade. Shit's about to get real.
I was just gonna say, well, at least you're still with us
Yep.
in all the dead implies. You fan of the Iron Giant?
Yeah.
That was an Iron Giant comment.
Right.
Well, I didn't know. Like, my kids are a fan of the Iron Giant. They've always really pretty much been the fans of the Iron Giant. But
That's like one of the greatest movies ever.
yeah, but the book sucks. The book sucks, dude.
That's funny. I've never read the movie.
It's called The Iron Man, and the whole entirety of the movie, or the references for the movie, like Hogarth Hughes is only in 10 pages,
Yeah.
and he digs a pit to capture the Iron Giant. So it's not the same story at all. They just kind of took Hogarth Hughes and the Giant and did their own story with him. The Iron Giant's like basically two episodic stories jammed together, and in the end, he has to confront a dragon literally the size of Australia.
Oh, because that wouldn't affect, I don't know, gravitational pulls and things like that.
Well, to be fair, it's a kid's book. Well, it's supposed to be a kid's book. If I was a kid, I probably would never make it through that book. But it's still supposed to be a kid's book. But there's a sequel in the novels called The Iron Lady, The Iron Woman.
The
And
female?
that is, I think it's either lady or woman, but that is basically she's a rusty creature formed of the trash dumped into the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
So you can guess how that goes. That doesn't sound great. How you doing?
Great.
Doesn't sound like you want to go skiing this weekend.
No. I'm reminded of that wonderful scene in Diggstown.
In what?
Diggstown. Where he's
Another
like,
movie I haven't seen.
oh, Diggstown is great. That's like that's one of my favorite sport films of all time. Primarily because it's only a little bit about. I mean, it's really all about the boxing, but at the same time, it's not about the boxing. So yeah, that is I love. That's I think one of the most underrated films of all time too. Right now, because you haven't done the shading on the legs really, it kind of looks like he's wearing like tights or.
Okay.
It's just
He's wearing a Dalmatian.
Dalmatian pants.
So I'm trying to use the spots to actually help out with identifying the light source and all that. So
Okay.
trying to put the darker ones where there's going to be a darker shade overall, and work my way to the lighter ones. But fortunately, most of the lower parts will be in shadow.
I'm going to have to go into work in the morning.
What's that?
I'll have to go into work in the morning.
You are? I thought you said you're calling in.
Well, that was after I had gotten sick at home. I had been fine at work. And so, like, when I left, I just, like, my laptop's on my desk and my iPad's on my desk. And it's not that I necessarily think the kids will mess with it, but it's one of those things where if a kid does mess with it, or a sub, who knows, I don't know, they'll be like, well, why'd you leave it out? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I gotta go put it away. Stupid.
It doesn't sound like you're fit to run over there right now.
I might do it, but if we get off street, just because it's like a 5-minute drive. It's a 3-minute thing, and then another 5-minute drive, and then I don't have to worry about it. Versus waking up early enough to go take care of it. The worst part is it comes in waves, and that's the weirdest thing. So, like, once I ride, yeah, like, I thought I came home and I was hoping it was just that I needed to eat something, so I ate some popcorn, and then that was the first part that really, like, nope, that's not staying down. And then I had soup for supper, and that's mostly stayed down. And I was feeling okay during supper, and I was like, oh, I should not have had that. Ugh. So it just comes and goes.
And in years past, I would have been like, I'll tough it out. It's a Friday, it's not a big deal. But no more. I have learned my lesson. So now I'm like, screw it. Also, I'm just a little worried with as sick as the boys got. If I'm coming down with something, I don't need to be, typhoid Gary. So. Gatorade Zero Berry. The flavor I just drank, Gatorade Zero Berry flavor. That is never going to be. It's just not my favorite. Let me put it that way.
That's what I was joking about.
Yeah, it's just
That is exquisite.
yeah.
I like that word because exquisite can be very, very good or very, very bad. You can have exquisite pain. Which, it sounded like you did.
Well, yeah, whatever. We have the Gatorade at the house because the boys were sick, so I mean that's good. But they did not choose well. Better than nothing. I'm happy to have Gatorade. Like it'll help. I'm sure it's hydrated. Blah blah blah. I don't want to, whatever. But yeah. Like I have another one here. And I'm gonna drink it eventually, but I really don't want to. See, that was another thing. Today's the first day I haven't taken any prescription pills for my back. And I was thinking, all right, like I was moving around today. And
The puking was doing you good?
Well, my everything's loosened up, and every once in a while I'll hit something weird and it'll flare up. But I mean, for the most part, it feels like everything's gone back to normal. And so I was just, I was kind of moving and grooving today, and then, I was thinking, oh yeah, everything's kind of looking up. And then I came home and it was just, spoke too soon. But I will say this, it's better without the back pain.
Well, I'm sure normally, in my experience anyway, one pain supersedes another. So,
Yeah.
like if I had back pain and then I had a new pain that was pretty bad, that new pain would take over and the back pain would be gone. At least for the time that the new pain was eating the shit out of me.
well, I think I was getting over that. I just, I'm sure it has nothing to do with having to drive my boys to the doctor and sitting in the car with them as they're, breathing. When I asked them to hold their breath for the entire time we drove, but no.
Selfish thoughts.
Yeah. Oh well. I'll just blame their parents for poor upbringing.
Why not? Everybody else does.
Yeah.
It's like Dahmer. It's the freaking poor upbringing.
Well, I was reflecting on some of that today about how, these 7th graders kind of run around, and it's just, it's not like high school hallways are quiet, but...
Yeah, right? Not in my experience ever.
No, but you don't hear screaming like I do every day at the middle school. It's just, I'm like, there are people who like to say the middle school is a zoo, and when you make those types of noises, and they do for no reason, like at all, I'm just, I just don't get it. I've never Well, no, that's not true. When I was little, like in second grade, I can remember doing stuff like that. But, like at recess. But not in the middle school.
Would your parents thump the shit out of you for it?
Yeah, probably. If I,
yeah. There might be an underlying reason. There might be a defense of parenting in that statement.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, one of my sons has Tourette's, and he doesn't even do that crap. Oh well.
The Ninja Turtles don't have tails, do they?
Nope.
Don't most turtles have tails?
Most turtles aren't 6 foot tall and talk either. I don't think most turtles have teeth, do they? Snappers don't have beaks.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess, but
I'm beginning to think these guys aren't really turtles.
Right there. Mid-century mutant ninja tortoises.
That might be more accurate.
I was thinking it was possible, like it might be the case.
I introduced a couple of my classes to the evils of tiny assignments because there was
To the evils of what?
tiny assignments. See, because assignments, homework, tiny ones. And the problem with them, and these seventh graders have, according to the test data that we have, these seventh graders have a really strong foundation with phonics and sight words, but a lot of their reading comprehension is low. And what that suggests to me, at least, is that they can read, but they have no stamina. Like, they can't read for very long. They think everything is way too long, and they give up. So, you know, I said this in a meeting, which is stupid probably, because then they're like, "Oh, that's a good, a good insight. What are you doing about it?" I was like, "Oh, God." So
I'm pointing it out so you guys can figure this shit out.
yeah. So I was like, "Well, I think the best way to proceed probably is to start off with very short reading assignments and progressively and quietly make them larger and larger, so they don't recognize necessarily that until after a while. I mean, and some kids are going to recognize it sooner than others, but it's just basically to develop the mental muscles so they can sit and read long enough. But I'm not joking. I went back to a 3-sentence paragraph, and there's only so much you can ask about a 3-sentence paragraph, unless you want really long, complicated sentences, which kind of defeats the purpose. So their assignment only had 3 questions. Like, there was a pool of questions that I made, but again, there's only so much you can do with 3 sentences. So since it's only 3 questions, if you missed one, you went down to a D automatically. That's just the math of it. The kids are all...
That must go over well.
Well, they're all thinking, sweet, it's a short assignment. And I pointed out, I was like, this is why we shouldn't do this too much, because, yeah, if you miss 1, it's a D. You miss 2, it's an F. And I don't think you guys want that. That's why, normally I would try to give at least 10 questions on anything. But, I mean, that would be more words in the questions than the actual sentences, which I suppose I could try, but you're going to have to start asking some really esoteric type reading comprehension questions, and it's not going to work. But I was just pointing out the math. I was like, it's kind of why we need, it's cool because most of them got 5 out of 5 because I scored it out of 5. But so we need to get a few more questions in so that it's not quite so dramatic, so that you can miss one and still not be doing terribly. Because if it's out of 10, you miss one, you still have an A. I think that's a better setup. But students just think of it as more work, and I'm like, there's a balance. If you have an assignment that's too small, every question is really important. If you have an assignment with too many, it's just too much to get through. So, I get it. It's an endurance and maturity thing. But showing them the math on that, they were like, ooh. And they were like, well, why can't you just give us out of 10 points? It's like, it would still be one question as a third of that. It doesn't matter. I can make it out of a billion points. It's still, each question is a third. So, it doesn't work. But I'm hoping, to get them up to a larger size. It starts off with 3 sentences, go to 4 sentences, 5 sentences, start getting to,
larger and larger paragraphs and then start having more and more paragraphs until, they look at most things and they think, because really, when you're on these standardized tests, none of the reading passages are that long. So, the fact that they're intimidated by how little, because there's really not a lot there, it should not be inconceivable to push them to where most of them can read longer texts. But I think the only way to do that is because, like, even 5 years ago, I would say that was going to be hard. But now with AI being able to generate, a quick paragraph, and all I have to do is kind of tweak and watch and make sure that it's not hallucinating. It's not as hard. So I can make a lot more content for my class and tailor it more to their needs. Way better than any textbook could. And I'm sure there are programs that we could probably buy, but again, I'm doing this for my normal contract pay. I think it's very doable, but we'll see, I guess. After the drama that happened at the high school, I would like to have good data at the middle school, and I always had good data at the high school too. But this way, when the good data continues, and with a vastly different clientele, then I think that shows that my techniques are effective, and I know what I'm doing, as well as any teacher can, I guess. But I guess we'll have to wait till the end of the year and see if my kids improve. I think there should be a Ninja Turtle that, since none of them have ears really, you should give him an ear, and his weapon could be a golf club, and he would be the turtle's cousin, Van Golf.
What?
Well, like the way we say Van Gogh is wrong. It's not how he would have pronounced his name. It's closer to Van Gogh, although even that's wrong. But, it's a play on golf. He has an ear because Van Gogh, cut off part of his ear. So, since turtles don't actually have ears, he would be the turtle with one ear. See, I'm just playing on this whole naming them after famous artists. And they were all Renaissance artists, so their cousin could be the impressionist.
Well, I'd hate to see your representation of the Picasso turtle. That might not go over so well.
Oh no, that would be awesome. Because he starts off looking normal, and then he turns blue, and then, he basically...
Then he goes cube, and then he goes little barbells, and the dolly one will melt and have long giraffe legs.
I
think the
Got
dolly.
long giraffe legs.
Oh, I was gonna ask. Did I ever ask you about? There's a documentary about. It's called, I think, Tim's Vermeer, and it was produced and directed. I think it was produced by Penn Jillette, but it was directed by Teller, and it's about a guy, a computer software designer, not an artist, who sets out to paint a Vermeer using technology that was available at the time. And I started watching it the other day, and I'll pick it. Like, I didn't know it was on YouTube for free. And I was like, whoa. I haven't finished it, but I still find it incredibly fascinating, because the idea is you're not doing a projection. You're looking at a mirror reflection that you kind of superimpose over the picture, like so that it's between you. The mirror is.
Oh yeah,
you
the magic
and the
and
painting.
the magic. What's that?
Yeah. But seeing how that works,
Da Vinci, I guess.
so that
is,
you're just. I was like, that's pretty darn nifty.
Yeah, I've
So-
seen that. They've been selling those for a while. I don't use them because I guess I feel like it's a cheat, but I guess it doesn't really matter, right? If you're just trying to do something quick, or like if I'm doing, I don't think it would be a cheat if you're doing like a comic book, but it would feel like a cheat if you were doing. Fine art. To me,
that was kind of the interesting part. Like, the little part that I saw, the guy was basically trying to paint a picture out of like a yearbook or something. Like, it was like a black and white picture, which is not exactly black or white. And yeah, so by having that mirror there, the edge of the mirror disappears when you have the right color, because you can't tell, the edge, because the colors will match perfectly. And if the mirror is stationary, and then as you move around and kind of look at things and get things set up right, like, yeah, it's kind of an interesting process. I was kind of, I don't know if I'd call it a cheat, because you have to recognize the composition, and you have to recognize.
I don't know. You're not doing the full amount of work. I mean, yeah, you're doing some analytical work, and you're doing some like blending and color making work, maybe. But if you're using it to draw, I wouldn't feel like it was a cheat if you're doing a comic, because the ultimate purpose of a comic isn't to show off your artistic skills, it's to tell a story, right? And fine art is to show off your artistic skills and the vision that you have. It's supposed to be your specific vision. So to me, that would feel like a cheat if you're using a mirror. And I know you're just using a mirror to get the lines and colors and whatever, but that's exactly what you should be representing as your vision if it was what you are doing, Like, how can it be your vision if you're really just copying what you see? Like copying, not like imitating or.
I don't think you can use it really unless you're going to copy an already existing piece of artwork. I don't think you can really do it for A, things that don't exist, and B,
Right.
Well, speaking of Van Gogh, you can't do a Van Gogh or a Dali, really. Like, there are certain things that you can't do.
or at least I don't see how you could do it that way. Maybe you can. I don't know. But
Well, it's a mirror, so I mean, you can do it, but it'd be backwards, right?
well, you
Or no, the magic mirror, that's the whole thing, is that you use a system of mirrors to spin it around.
like it's. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying. That it's kind of copying what you see. It's kind of like when you use reference material. Um, so I don't see how you can really.
It's more than reference if you're literally reflecting it on the page and then tracing a line or matching up the color. That's not.
No. See, you're not. The way this one worked, you're not drawing any lines. And that was one of the things they were talking about with the veneers. Like when you scan them, there aren't underlying marks for like a sketch. It's just straight up paint. And
all right, so they're using it to paint, but I have actually seen that system used to draw as well, and that's why I was saying, like it's still, it's still not really.
I don't know why you use it to draw, quite frankly. I mean,
unless you're talking about a different system.
I don't know.
That's what they exactly were talking about using it for. What I saw.
I just know the guy was. I mean, he was doing a portrait, but it really wasn't drawing. It was painting. And
and he was doing a portrait, loosely doing a portrait, because he was just basically copying something on paper.
Yeah, kind of. Because it's one of those things where when the color matches the edge of it,
right,
then the edge of the mirror disappears, so you can't tell that it's a. So as you get closer and closer to it, the better you are, the I suppose the faster the mirror would disappear, or the edge would. And
but you're saying it's a neat trick, right?
Well, it's completely different. I would say it's so like. Here's the thing: if you're going to use it to draw, then I would question why you wouldn't use a regular projector. But they explain why it's good for painting, because when you project something, you can't get the exact color. Like the colors aren't going to work right as you're projecting it. So this allows you to get color right, because you're not actually competing with light. And if you're gonna, I still don't understand why you would use it to draw. Like I would just use a projector.
You know what the traditional way of getting the painting right is?
You keep looking at it and mixing it until it's right.
No, you put your reference picture underneath a piece of glass and use your piece of glass to mix your colors on.
That's how is that not just the same kind of basic cheating?
Because it's not applying it to the picture.
Okay.
It's just matching it up to the reference. It's just, instead of looking back and forth to the reference, you can paint right on the palette to get the mixture, and then you take it from that palette to put it on your whatever. It doesn't place it on the painting. That would be the job of the artist. And if the artist isn't doing it himself, he's just copying. And I get it. You're saying that they're doing it to mix the colors or whatever, but they're also painting what they see. So they're doing a little bit more than just mixing the colors. But that's why I feel it's cheating anyway.
Yeah, I don't see it as cheating.
Okay. That doesn't validate what I see it as.
I also think it's. I mean, if putting a picture under glass and then just mixing it, it's the same base. You're right. It's not being placed, but the mirror's not placing it. You still have to go through and do it. And so, your lines still have to. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind. I don't really care in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
But
that's okay, and that's the difference, really, is because you're looking at it as a neat trick, and I'm not disputing that it's a neat trick. It's a neat way to match your color, but you're also actually doing the painting with that gadget. You're not doing the painting with your hand and eye coordination. You're doing the painting with the aid of something else. Now, if you're mixing the colors on a palette with that, and then you're applying them from the palette on the painting, that's a different story for me. But if you're applying it on the painting, it's also mixing the colors on the painting, which weakens the colors. That's a whole different conversation.
Right. I mean, and for me, like, I realized the first thing the guy tried, the first attempt he did, they recorded. He was doing it from a portrait, which whatever. But if I have a live model, and this works the exact same way for a live model, and so I'm doing the composition. I mean, it's kind of the same way with photography, only it's a different way of doing it. I mean,
do you know what I would argue the difference between photography and that is?
What?
You are putting the picture in your lens, you are focusing the camera, and then you're deciding what you want the exposure to be. You are actually showing what your vision is. Because it's what you capture in your vision. It's not matching it up to somebody else's.
And again, that's why I'm saying if you have a live model, then, or even if you can technically take this out to the countryside and do the exact same thing with it, you are framing the picture. Like it's your composition. It's you deciding when the light is the right color.
Well, if you're matching somebody else's color, if you're matching a color...
No, that's what I'm saying. If you have a live model, as in I go hire some chick to stand in front of some window.
I know what a live model is. I've used them a time or two, really.
Oh, right. But I'm saying, so I'm not saying that you're copying a photograph of somebody else or someone else. You could use it to do that. Don't get me wrong. Recognize.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The difference is that when you take a picture, you are creating the image all the way around. You are showing what you want to show. You are capturing what you want to see with the lighting that you want to have, with the filters or whatever that you want to have. That's not the same as reflecting a live model and then drawing or copying or painting what a reflection is. So you're painting a reflection.
Yeah, but you're choosing the timing and the light and the composition. So instead of using a gimmick from the developing standpoint, you have to actually wait for actual light. Then you have to actually make a pigment which matches the light, and then then you have to actually. I mean, you're the one constructing it instead of letting light and chemicals make it. You're the one who's actually applying the pigment. So, I mean, again, if you're copying a piece of someone else's photograph or art, you're copying. But if you're setting up the composition and you're the one, especially if you're in a studio, it's the same thing as it's the same procedure as you would have for a photograph, where you're setting up lights and It's just that you're the one processing it, not the camera. Which is why I don't think you could use it for things like an impressionist painting, because there's a reason why photographs don't really do impressionism. It's a good technique for realism, which then begs the question: why not just take a photo?
Ta-da. Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you just take a photo, you can't put your paintbrush on that photo and paint it. I mean, I guess you could, but that is the main reason, is that you're not reflecting it onto another canvas where you can make it look like your brush strokes are just yours. I mean, the brush strokes, I guess, are yours, but the image, the colors, the whatever is what you're reflecting. And yeah, I guess you can technically argue that you set it up and whatever, but most people won't do that. They will use it nefariously. As far as nefarious, you can use it. I've got to enlarge the screen so I can see this on screen.
What's even funnier is I don't think either one of us is ever going to use one of those.
What's that?
I said I don't think either one of us is going to necessarily use one of those ever, but
no, I mean, like I said, it's a cool trick. Like if I did think, like, if I wanted to do a comic or whatever, I think that would be an awesome way to do a comic if I had somebody that I wanted to represent one of the characters. And I could just use reflections like that really quick to do sketches and then shrink them down or change the size of them. That would be, an applicable thing to produce a story. You know what I mean?
I think setting up
I think I'm going to go back and forth over that, really, because there are parts of it that I agree that if you are actually posing the model and you are actually setting up the colors, setting up the composition of everything, and I'm talking about compositionally, like not just where the lighting is and where the model is, but letting model how the clothes folds lay and all that stuff, then yeah, that you've kind of done the work to express what you're trying to express. So I'll give you that. I don't think anyone will go through all that work, but I don't think many people would go through all that work because it's just too easy to cheat with it. It's like AI. You can argue that I gave it the cues, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still not you're not doing all the work. Somebody else realizing, or something else realizing the work.
Also, AI hallucinates and makes crap up and misses things.
Well, so do artists copying things.
That's true, but like I will use AI for classroom work stuff.
like you'd be surprised how hard it is to come up with sentences that are varied in structure but relatively the same difficulty level in order to practice some grammar thing. Like, it's easy to come up with a couple, but you need to have lots of them for student practice. And it's one of those things where it's like, so I was showing my class once. I was like, so, you can tell, like, because I have questions about, like, my dog, and I have questions about my cat, and, all kinds of random questions. And, like, you can tell I'm writing my questions. But there are other questions where it's just like, their grasp of like the 8 parts of speech is kind of limited. So, like, I'm sorry.
I'm being basic like nouns. And I said, give me 5 sentences with, that only have one noun, and then make multiple choice questions on them and mark the answers for them. And so it gave, and I gave it, like I wrote one and I gave it as an example of what to do and what it should be like. And it spit out some questions, and they were fine, except for several of them were incorrect. Like the answer they chose was just wrong. And I have no problem with that. Like, I'm the one that makes the questions ultimately. So when it gets it wrong, I just fix it. It's still faster than trying to come up with, your 15th sentence that, it's kind of like that. It's just repetitive stuff. You just get burnt out, whereas the AI doesn't. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I wouldn't sit there and write, oh, here's my novel that a computer wrote for me. And yeah, I told it to write it, so it's mine. I don't really think that's accurate. I don't understand how you can do that.
Well, it's cheating is what it is, and that's the point. They can give you a cue. You don't have to actually do work. You think you can make all kinds of money off of it because these are people that think novelists are millionaires, and novelists are not necessarily millionaires. Matter of fact, the percentage of novelists that become millionaires, is very few.
Yeah. Or like I could see they do this on the Writers of the Future forum. There's a place where you can go and you basically interview your character as an exercise.
Oh, yeah. I hate that shit.
Well, I get it, but I'm saying I could see getting AI to kind of be the like you could kind of start that process with them, I guess.
Not for me. That's the part of the process of writing I like the most. Is being the character. I mean, like, I don't have to ask my characters questions. I pretty much know what I want my characters to be at the outset because it comes with the idea, and I explore them, and that's kind of the fun of it for me.
Well, again, the people who do that normally are doing that because they're stuck and they're trying to get unstuck. So I could see, like, I wouldn't necessarily do it, like, because I don't do that exercise anyway. But I guess I could see it. You could use AI for it, maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
So because these are calligraphy pens and the tips are really soft, they're flicking off to the side or bending instead of just doing like I would do with a straight either crow quill or pen.
Yeah.
That means I'm going to switch over because I've already got a couple of parts I'm going to have to erase to my micron PNs.
It's like I've seen this.
It's the same thing. Let's hopefully it works better than these ones.
I saw this reel. I think it was a reel. It might have been a YouTube short, but whatever. About it's like you have this painting of somebody, and they cover up the subject, and then they like smear across the side of it to.
Yeah,
And
they did a really good painting of a face, and then all of a sudden they fuck it up a little.
Well, no, because it's covered up when they do it, so then they peel it off the covering, and so the background is all smudged, and the subject isn't. And I'm like, because they're trying to create movement in the background, and I'm just like, you could just paint that part first, and then
Yeah,
put
the background.
yeah.
Yeah, that's they can't, because then the gimmick doesn't work.
Right, but I'm like, come on now, like, oh, I mean, I guess whatever, you gotta. It's like half the hacks you see online are more work than they're worth. So, yeah, some of that stuff I just look at and I'm just like, really? There's an easier way of doing that. But I suppose, if you don't know any better and you're just looking through YouTube or whatever, you might see that and think, oh, that's how you do it. Which is kind of funny. It's kind of like when you watch some fantasy movie or sci-fi movie where the guy has a sword or swords or batons strapped to their back.
Right. Not only works if you got gladiuses.
And yeah, so there's a reason you don't see them sheathing them or drawing them. It's because it doesn't work. And but it's like seeing that and thinking, oh, you just put them on your back. You just, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah, ninja toes are short. So a lot of people confuse that, and a lot of times they don't realize that ninja toes are like strung upside down.
Oh.
So that the handle is at the lower part.
Yeah.
So if you turn your body a little bit and you're drawing down below. But in the movie King Arthur, Lancelot has two gladiuses, and that's the only thing that you really see that makes sense to be on someone's back. However, in Braveheart, with that great sword, generally that's why that leather patch is there, because you're actually having what's called a sword. Sword knot. Sword. There's another word for it. Sword loop. That's actually long enough to wrap around your arm, so you can just slip your arm over it and have it hang from your back while you're running, and you're just picking that loop up along your arm. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that that's super practical, but I'm saying that that is the legitimate way that people did it when they did it. There were some legitimate ways, I guess I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying.
For the most part, it is stupid. And anyone that's ever actually put a sword on their back knows.
Well, it's kind of funny. We expect the stuff that we see on YouTube and TikTok and stuff to be real, I guess. Just like we thought when we saw it in movies and TV shows, that was real, and it's about as real as it was when it was on TV. It was just not. It looks good on camera. It's people's interests.
Some people manage to, and I'm not saying that in particular the sword thing, but some people will manage to do things that were otherwise not trained in impossible, because they trained themselves to figure out how to do it. So like inventing, technology based on Star Trek or whatever.
Right.
I'm gonna look something up, see if I can find it real quick. It's really cool, and it's kind of related to the subject. Yeah, so I'm gonna actually play this because we'll review it. I'll pause it to review it.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get it to play with volume.
Yeah, maybe I'm stupid.
Share screen. This guy is the fastest swordsman on earth, and
That's what his wife said.
yeah, well, there's a joke meme about that too. Because you can see him tossing an apple up and slicing it with his sword, but he also puts the sword away before it falls. Um, yep, also share tab on you. There you go. And there's a joke meme where it shows him doing that, and then it shows this guy and this chick that's sitting down, and the guy unzips the zipper and zips it back up, and she spits out some milk or some shit. All right, can you see? Are you ready?
Yeah.
This guy holds the title of the world's fastest, a Guinness.
What?
I can hear yours.
Yeah.
Why can't I hear mine?
Because you didn't have the volume on.
I'm telling you, I have volume on.
You have the volume on your computer.
Yes.
When you shared the screen, did you click the share the audio option?
I don't know.
Ah.
Well, I mean,
All right.
I really don't know. I just here. I'll just
I'm
try.
gonna play a little bit more of this.
All right.
You ready?
Guinness World Record holder. With a flick of his wrist, he transforms ordinary pens into lethal hidden weapons. Even law enforcement, after viewing his videos, hasten to have him officially registered. He's one of the few remaining practitioners of the ancient Mo Ying art, known as Mo Ying Xing Luo. He embodies the essence of a sword wielder whose blade seems divinely inspired. His sword moves at lightning speed, capable of slicing through an apple in the blink of an eye. What?
Pretty fucking fast. Huh?
No, I was joking. I said, or it's pre-cut. He's just dropping it. Just
Yeah. I think Guinness would probably have disqualified him.
a little bit. I'm just saying.
All right. A little bit? How do you disqualify someone a little bit? This was before the Olympics.
What truly astonishes is his ability to smoothly, precisely, and flawlessly sheath his sword after each strike. Not just a master of the blade, his agility is unparalleled. He effortlessly executes a 270-degree turn while sprinting at top speed. His keen eyesight is also unmatched. Swiftly shot arrows are deflected with a single decisive stroke of his blade. Beyond his swordsmanship, he's a jack of all trades. What challenge do you think can defeat this guy's sword skills?
Mike Block.
Yeah, I know. I was like, any pistol?
Yeah, well, I chose my weakest one. But yeah, he's badass. I wouldn't want to sword fight him.
Oh, no.
Alright, so yeah. Stop screen. So
All right.
when you click present
I'm doing
and you click share screen,
share screen.
the next option on the bottom, very bottom, says also share tab audio. Where you select whatever tabs that you're going to share, at the very bottom of that, there's a little sound, a little speaker thing.
Okay, so I see share screen. And then it says select window or screen.
Yep, and when you're selecting, choose what to share.
And allow.
You see where you can select your tab?
Yeah.
At the very bottom of that, there should be also share tab audio.
Well, that's neat, but that's not on. And let me see something else.
For some reason, it won't let me take a snapshot of it.
And when I do it, again, here, let me let me pause the music. Here, pause. Let me hit play. It thinks about it.
Are you on that screen?
Now
where
I
you
hear it
mouse-
in my headphones.
Can you mouse over that screen? Because I can't see your mouse.
What?
Can you mouse over that screen? Yep, okay, I see your mouse.
And I mean, I hear it in my headphones just fine.
Yep. Take your
And I don't
headphones
know
out. Take your headphones off.
Well, I would, except you know what? No, because my wife will kill me. But
Well,
tell you what,
I guess what I'm
I'm just
saying
gonna-
is that if your headphones are on, then it's probably playing into your headphones only because it's your headphones are plugged in.
yeah, but I just shared the clip with you on Discord, and if you want to play it, I guess we'll get some audio. But I would fast forward until you pretty much you see the.
I don't know where to fast forward it to.
About the 28-second mark or so, or the
With that,
good about the 25-second mark, and just hit play. I mean, it's only a minute 26.
25 second. All right, there's 25 second.
And oh, I
Close
didn't.
this. We'll put this over here.
Yeah.
Oh, that should have been closed. What did
We
I
can read-
close? Oh.
We can rename our stream "Two Old Guys Trying to Figure Out Technology." And,
Yeah, that's really a very small part of the stream, though.
I know. I just think it's funny.
All right.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Fuck yeah! Come out again to save the motherfucking day, yeah, America! Fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way, yeah! Terrorists, your game is through, cause now you have to answer to...
See, that's patriotic.
Fuck yeah.
Anytime someone says America, in my head, I'm generally hearing, fuck yeah. Just,
It's a beautiful movie by the guys that make South Park.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can kind of understand the humor, but
yeah, it's just one of those things where my family sings that song quite a bit. Like that's what they should play at the Olympics.
Well, the Olympics aren't American.
I agree. But instead of playing the national anthem, they just
Oh,
play.
no. I'm a national anthem fan. But I like the second verse, and nobody wants to play that.
Oh, yeah, there are more verses. Yeah, they get a little rough.
Actually, they don't get rough. People just don't know what they actually mean these days.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where,
Because it mentions slave, and
yeah,
but when it's mentioning slave, it's not talking about blacks. It's talking about the Hessians that were left behind. But whatever. Whatever it means to you.
Oh, apparently, I didn't realize that that our vice president had done an interview finally.
Oh, J.D. Vance? Oh, our vice president. Well,
Yeah, the current vice
not,
president.
not the one that should be vice president.
Well, that would be
Actually,
Pence.
I've heard that there's talk of Trump switching from Vance to RFK. Actually,
Oh, I don't think that'll happen.
it's possible. I mean, it's of course it's like NBC, so it's just trying to weaken Trump, I guess. But what they don't realize is that if that happened, everybody would know that it was complete bullshit if fucking Kamala won.
Yeah, I know.
It should be anyway. Everybody should have a clear head about this. Kamala doesn't know fucking shit.
Well, I'm looking at a very biased website, so. You know,
What's that?
I'm looking at a biased website, so just know that, and I'm only looking at headlines, so these are going to be slanted at the very least. But it said train wreck, CNN pushes Kamala hard on issues, Harris unprepared, no good answers, Waltz hit on stolen valor, VP defends Bidenomics, fails to explain why she did not lower prices. You know, which everyone, if you didn't know that, you know, this administration has been a failure, like, I don't care.
You haven't bought milk,
Yeah.
or you haven't paid rent, or you haven't, tried to get a car or buy a house.
Right. And, like when Barack Obama ran for president the first time, I voted in Indiana. You can vote in the whatever primary you want. So I voted in the Democrat primary because I did not want Hillary Clinton. And then when it came for the election, I was like, I don't want John McCain, and I was okay voting for Barack Obama. When Romney ran,
Same thing.
well, when Romney ran, I thought at the time he was a good candidate, so I was like, all right, cool. He has, I guess the best thing about Barack Obama winning a second term is that Republicans weren't saddled with Romney Republicanism, because that would have taken over the party, and his he's a rhino. I mean, just God, he's proven himself to be such a rhino, and I'm kind of glad he didn't win.
Wasn't he governor of Massachusetts?
Utah. Oh, that might have been that. That's what it was. And then he moved to Utah. Now he's a senator.
Yeah, he's LDS, but
yeah. But
I think he was actually governor of Massachusetts, or
something,
or mayor of Boston or some shit like that. It was obvious where his stances were going to be anyway.
Well, and then I'm saying, I can admit I voted for Barack Obama.
Yeah.
I had high hopes for Barack Obama. And I can still say I was wrong. He was not a good president.
I did not
when you look at
Barack Obama.
Well, when you look at when you start looking at the data, he really did not help things out. But he was wildly popular for, I don't know why.
Because he was black and he could talk well.
I guess.
I didn't say he was truthful. He was known as he led people to believe that he was a constitutional expert,
right?
Which he wasn't. He was like a substitute teacher for some constitutional experts.
Well, he apparently didn't really care what the Constitution actually says. But.
Well, yeah, he was full of shit, and it shows.
Yeah, and
things are looking, he's one of those presidents where, well, he can't be president again, so we just let him alone. Well, he did a terrible job. And he divided the country in the process.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty much that's why it was a bad thing. But you could kind of sort of argue nothing was terrible. Like it wasn't super terrible. But God, you get Trump in and when Trump was first nominated, I was I was angry.
When Barack Obama got in office, within 6 months, half the businesses in the town that my business was in and my business had to close. Jeez. I had to relocate and work for somebody else. So there, this change proved quickly to not be good change, at least for me and in this area of the country.
Yeah. So, Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, which should have been a giant sign.
What's that?
Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts. But when Trump was nominated the first time, when he won the first primary that he won, I was so angry because I had seen, the guys from New York. He was a pal of the Clintons. I was like, oh, great. We have Clinton and Clinton White. And I was mad. Like, I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. The uniparty is real. Like, I was so angry. And then Trump gets into office and his policies worked. And he was...
they weren't what you thought they were going to be.
Yeah. And, I'm just like, okay. All right, cool. Like I looked at the results of the policies and they were good. And I don't think they were the policies that anyone else would have used. I mean, I think it's kind of telling that Kamala is now going through and saying, the wall is good and all this. She's completely flip-flopped and she's stealing Trump's, ideas, which...
What's ironic is that she's still in a position to do something about the wall.
Oh, I know. I know.
And she's still not doing anything about the wall, but saying that she will.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, the most I ever see, the most I see.
That was sarcasm.
For supporters, is we can get rid of Trump. I'm like, that's not an argument to vote for Kamala Harris.
Right. Like I've seen a whole bunch of interviews about. What policies do you like of Kamala's? She's a good person. What? How is that a policy, number one? And number two, what do you define a good person as? Slave labor?
Yeah,
having
really.
The power of her pen?
The malicious persecution of people? Yeah. I mean, it's just wrong.
Like that thing I sent you, the power of my pen.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Can you say corruption?
Well, I was like, I forget the guy's name. He's a big Democrat mouthpiece, basically. He looks like the Crypt Keeper. And he was on Bill Maher talking about how supposedly Democrats have made since World War II or something, there's been 51 million jobs created, and Democrat presidents made 50 million, and Republicans only made 1. And Bill Maher actually was like, "That's bullshit, just 100% bullshit."
Well,
and the guy was just taken aback.
They were like 20 million part-time jobs where you can work 2 days a week.
Well, it's just one of those
million full-time jobs.
He pointed out
that's what their points are all the time. They say that shit, but they don't include that their part-time jobs are jobs for illegals.
The housing crisis of 2008 was created by policies that Bill Clinton had enacted. So, you're talking about one of the worst economic downturns ever. And it's because of, policies that Bill Clinton signed into law. And I don't, that's quite a bit away. But you can look at, it's not just one of those things where it's like, we're blaming Clinton. It's no, this policy right here led to these outcomes. And so, okay, we've traced the policies back to the, what started it. And we can name you can name the policy. Like if I really wanted to go look it up, I know I can, because it's when they, part of the problem was they started forcing banks to lend to people who did not qualify for loans. And the reason why they didn't qualify for loans, they were too risky. Had nothing to do with race. And, the banks are always looking to make money. They don't want to sit there and lose money. And banks make their money by giving loans. Like, the banks were happy with these things.
Yeah, because all the other money in the bank is not the bank's.
Right. So they don't mind doing that. The idea that, I understand there was a time where banks wouldn't loan to African Americans, or, you couldn't, I get that there were problems, but not in 2008. Not quite frankly, not in the 90s. So, they look at statistics and they, oh, look, these people, African Americans can't get loans. It's like, well, that's because it's about making like the right percentages of your income and things like that. And yeah, there was a time when they would redline and they would do all kinds of crap. I get it. But nah, they went too far in trying to correct the problem, and it led to the housing crash. It literally almost destroyed the entire world economy. And that's more of a, I don't know. I mean, it's a situation where the data really doesn't support the idea that Democrats made more jobs. And you're right. That thing about all the part-time jobs that have come back, like, yeah, great. Or when, you start looking at the numbers and it's like all the gains are in foreign-born workers. And, or California wants to give no interest loans for first-time home buyers for illegal immigrants. Right. It's like, wait, hold, excuse me? You're going to further entice illegal immigration and you're going to make me pay for it? Like,
and not allow me to have.
Right. You want to talk about a two-tiered, you want to talk about systemic racism. That's legal discrimination. So that's systemic. That's the very definition of systemic. So, yeah, Kamala supports that kind of thing. And I don't think we can afford more, Biden 2.0. This time it's even more corrupted. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, and the worst part about that is that we are getting nearer and nearer to breadlines from it.
Yeah.
Like, people don't even realize that that is the end goal, that you rely on the government for your cheese, for your bread, for your fucking everything. And when you're relying on your government for anything, when they got control, it's no longer the government of the people, by the people, for the people. It's a government of the 1% that everybody talks about, for the 1% that everybody talks about, and fuck off on anybody else unless they're working for that 1%.
And one of those things is just like, like I look at like what Canada did to the Freedom Convoy and the fact that they,
Ugh.
froze people out of their bank accounts because they donated to a cause. Meanwhile, we have Kamala bailing out violent protesters, and that's okay. But dear God, if you thought about going to the Capitol on January 6th, then the FBI is going to hunt you down years later. And who cares if you're, a grandma who, was on the steps at some point. We're going to arrest you. And we're going to sit there and, just screw you over left, right, and center. It's like, yeah. So these are real things that have actually happened.
Yeah, not even get bent over a coffee table.
I'm just, yeah. Everyone wants to say that Trump is going to be, evil, totalitarian, yada, yada, yada.
Well, yeah,
But
because
it's
they
like-
can hand cherry pick whatever the fuck they want out of his speeches and eliminate the context.
Right. And it's like, wait, I've seen him be president and he didn't do any of those things.
Right.
And
Never hurt a kid. In
yeah,
office, he never fucking rounded up all the gay kids and made them go to anti-gay camps like they're talking.
oh
you know,
yeah.
He didn't. He didn't make abortion illegal. He made it so that the states have control, which is
Right.
actually more powerful if you think about it, because the
It's more
voters of that
democratic.
state actually tell you what they want.
And
So the thing is, though, is that they don't like that the voters of the state can want something other than that what they do.
Yeah.
How dare you want something else?
but when they fearmonger about Trump, it's like, okay, but why didn't he do that the first time he was in office then? And
because it's bullshit.
and all of this is just pure 100% fear mongering. It's like, based on what? Versus, I can look at Kamala's actual record, things she actually did that should scare anyone from ever
Right.
electing this woman. And it's like, and they're, well, she doesn't believe in that now. And it's like,
no, because she's too fucking whacked and whacked out stoned to believe in it now.
she's
Right.
drunk. Yeah.
Huh?
She's a drunk, the lush in chief. But
So he's a fucking she's a pothead too. She fucking dated
Well-
Montel Williams, and he was fucking huge pothead. He was
Right.
one of
Well,
the
of course,
progenitors
she didn't
of,
mind prosecuting
medical.
people who were using marijuana.
yeah.
Like, I think if
anyone but
I
her.
think if there were enough, if there was a push from Congress under Trump to legalize marijuana at the federal level and just give it back to the states, I think Trump would probably okay that. I don't think he would
Yeah, because
necessarily like it.
doing what he felt that people wanted.
Right. I don't think he would like it, but I think he would recognize, all right, that makes sense. You guys want it to be legal, and we'll do it. And I don't see the Democrats, and here's why I don't think the Democrats would do it. They may say they will, but too much of the Democrats are in bed with the industrial prison complex.
And
And-
pharmaceutical companies.
Right. So you have those two huge moneymakers, and legalizing marijuana would hurt their bottom line a lot. And that's why I don't think the Democrats will do it. Now, I think, will Republicans... I think eventually the Republicans are going to figure, that it's okay it should be legal. But because a lot of them are in bed with the same people. Like, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of Republicans that get paid by pharmaceutical companies, and there are plenty of Republicans that get paid by the industrial prison complex. That's why, when I say uniparty, I don't think it's necessarily organized, but I do think it's the corporations are paying for things. And politicians know who butters their bread. So, but I think
you might get Republicans to do it before Democrats. And I could be wrong. Democrats could pander to, people just like Republicans can. But I think there's an argument. Like, here's the thing. When you say defund the police, I think, well, that's stupid. How about we have fewer laws that are stupid, so we don't need as much enforcement? How about instead of saying, because like the average American
state,
well,
we wouldn't need the state to
average American
control things.
Yeah, but if the average American will break a law every single day, at least one, and I think it's actually you break a law several times a day, like there are so many laws it's physically impossible not to, then yeah, I'm going to say
Not
that
me.
maybe we should
I don't break the laws.
Yeah, okay. But to me, it's one of those things like perhaps
Unless you're in England.
We should just have fewer laws. Make fewer things illegal. And Democrats love to make things illegal. And that's the thing I don't understand. It's like you want to make everything illegal and then defund the cops who will enforce this? Like, it doesn't make sense. And instead of defunding the cops, the first thing you say is legalize marijuana. That's the first thing you do. That'll cut into, you want to defund the cops, then make sure they don't have to do that job. This isn't rocket science. But instead, Democrats are importing more
surgery.
Yeah, but they're importing more criminals. They're taking away your ability to protect yourself from the criminals, and then they want to take away the government protection from the criminals. So, yeah, to me, it's a death spiral, but maybe I'm being hyperbolic.
What's that?
I think it's a death spiral. I'm just saying to, increasingly make things illegal, increasingly make economic conditions great for breaking the law, and then remove as much protection from people, from law-abiding citizens as possible. And I mean, it keeps getting worse and worse that way.
Right.
But whatever. That's just me. Wasn't even a joke.
It's me being stealthy.
They'll never know it was me. They'll think it was an ox.
Poor box.
Oh.
The tough thing is, this isn't seafood.
Oh.
I guess it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not quite big enough. But it might do the job anyway. Yeah, there he is.
That's there you go. Now I can see.
It's a bigger circle template. Doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be enough for me to get a point of reference from. In case everybody's wondering or anybody's wondering, I'm going to expand from it.
I'd like to say you're making me salivate, but I have a feeling there's a different reason why I'm starting to slobber.
I hope you wouldn't salivate over turtles.
Hey man, they make good soup.
If you say so.
I don't know if if there's like a season or anything for turtles. But yeah,
Well, they're amphibious, so
no, I'm saying like deer and whatnot have a season.
right, but deer aren't amphibious, and why I bring that up is that they are enough reptile where they get very lethargic in the cold.
Yeah.
So obviously they would move more about in the summer, spring, and become more lethargic in the fall and the winter. So if there was a season, it would probably be late spring, early summer.
Well,
And
I
that's,
just know
and that's why.
Had I been really wanting to butcher turtles, I probably, you could probably feed a family of 4 where I grew up on nothing but turtle and never pay a cent. But wasn't really interested in butchering a turtle, and occasionally, I mean, my goodness, some of the turtles that you get were huge. I mean, just like monstrously huge. Like I'd be scared of some of them getting near my cats or something.
Especially if they're like snapping turtles.
Yeah. I mean, and you could just, so we had channel access to the lake growing up. And, you get branches and all kinds of stuff in the channels and people's piers and old piers that had rotted and fallen in and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, during the summer, they're just lined with turtles. And they don't move for much of anything. They're just baking themselves. So I don't think it'd be that hard. Take a net, go out, get yourself some dinner. But that's way more effort, and I'm too citified for that, I guess.
Well, it's an unclean meat, and I probably would not choose to eat turtles.
Well, it's like a lot of things. I need my meat processed to a point where I don't necessarily have to think too much about it. But even like my wife hates handling raw chicken, and I'm not a fan, but I'll do it. But even then, like I can remember my mom bringing home a chicken and breaking it down. I don't want to do that. Just like, no, I'll pay for it. Okay. I have the money. I don't mind. Yeah. My mom would just cut them all up and stuff. I suppose she saved money that way, but I'm just like, yeah, it's worth it. No. Rich, I think I'm going to go.
Well, I don't think I'm all that long for it either. but for a totally different reason. It's almost 3 hours, and it's our normal time. Actually, it's 3 minutes from our normal kind of shut off point.
Yeah,
So,
I just
yeah, you go. You got to take care of yourself.
well again
I do not have the same issues you do. So
It's been fun again, and I will see you hopefully Saturday. And yeah,
tomorrow, right?
or tomorrow. Yeah, you'll have to shoot me like what time. I'm
I
pretty
have
sure.
no idea. She didn't say anything. So
Well, I mean,
I guess I'm gonna come on at 8:15 for a little while, unless there's some other deal. I
yeah,
guess I can message her through YouTube if we have a better time.
well, I mean, I don't think I got anything. Well, I know I don't have any work. So
yeah. So I'm gonna go. I will talk to you later.
Have a good one. I hope you get better.
Yeah, thanks, man. Bye.
That's all the detail. Short. So, what time, Allison? What time do you want us to stream? Because short streams are fine, but what's the best time? We'll have to get together and figure that one out between me and Bret. But yeah, I think we can manage that. I think we can manage that for a faithful fan. For pretty much anybody. It's not so much detail around here. This is more motion lines. It's usually associated with motion lines. And I want to kind of fade it away into black. And to do that, I mean, you have to darken the values to make sense. So that's what I'm doing, is basically trying to darken some of these values and make it understandable when I fade to black. And some I'm using a light touch for, and some I'm using a heavier touch for. That should give the feeling of a little bit of motion or movement. And I'm using cross-hatching as its original purpose, is to change the value. Cross-hatching doesn't also have to stop at two different directions anytime you cross feathering the lens. Very quiet. Sounds like he's turning off the music. Let's see if he did. Let's see if he did. Oh, let's see. Something like this usually take it. It's not the usual, like I said the whole time. I didn't take this really serious. It's something that Bret mentioned. He kept saying something like it didn't make sense for the Ninja Turtles to wear masks, so made me kind of wonder what a Ninja Turtle would look like without a mask. Or show him how a Ninja Turtle would look without a mask. I got a feeling that there's not too much more to it. I'm going to do a little bit of black in the corners here and where I wanted to fade off, I guess. With a bigger marker. And I'll probably do a little bit of white lines to the pasta white. If I can find my big black marker. Yes. And make do with what I got. I need a 110. I'm sure the overall looks like it's fading to black. We don't have a whole lot of time left for the night, so I'm probably going to finish this stuff tomorrow, maybe. That's the one that's going to just be a short stream. I can pull the white from here. I might use Oscar white, I might use acrylic gouache. Pulled me in, sent me some acrylic gouache to try out rather than doing it. So Right. I think it's a little bit black real quick, and then we'll do that for the evening. Of course, it's more late past evening here. And Allison also, it takes a lot less time when you've got the game plan from the beginning, and I really didn't. I was just doing some sketches. I like Copic because they blend, so I'm not gonna see a whole lot of the breaking in the end. We'll make it a more dramatic picture. No way, buddy. Don't forget. So I'm currently going to cast a shadow from him on this part to equal this. And then we'll do some little bits of whites here and there, and that'll be done. Alright. Allison, you need to tell me what time you would like. So, I don't know if we have any other way of speaking, but you can leave me a message underneath the video when it's done, or send a message to my channel, and we'll figure something out. So, thanks for watching, everybody that watched. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Like and subscribe and follow. Good night. God bless.